I woke up that day and decided it was going to be my last day living.
A former soldier sharing an experience all too familiar at a nearby military post. 8 soldiers at Fort Riley have died since July.
KSNT News reporter Molly Pat is live to find out what's being done to address the number of recent deaths at Fort Riley. Molly, what have you found out?
They survived the war overseas, but the real battle is at home. Tonight, we're digging into the struggles soldiers face here and what's being done to help. Suicide is something Fort Riley veteran Michael Fellman knows all too well. In 2015, he drove to Lake Shawnee in his new truck with the windows down to end his life.
Nothing major had happened. It was just, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Fellman wrote goodbye letters to his loved ones, engraved the bullet he was going to use, and had his fingers pressing on the trigger.
Well over a year. But looked okay on the outside, but I was really hurt on the inside.
A stranger walked by and asked if he was okay. That's what he says saved his life. But 8 fellow soldiers here at Fort Riley didn't have that same saving grace.
But it's another thing to survive combat with somebody and then to come home and have that person take their life.
These are the 8 Fort Riley soldiers who have died since July. Their deaths ruled suicide or under investigation. It's something that has top officials in the area concerned.
This is a problem across the United States. It just so happens that we're experiencing quite a little bit of it here, and I want to try to find out what's going on.
Silence and secrecy has surrounded the deaths, leaving families uneasy.
They haven't shared anything with me. I feel like they would be more willing to give us answer and be more into the investigation and give us more answer, and they're not.
Sartorius Swift was the wife of Staff Sergeant Garrett Swift, one of the soldiers who recently died. Swift says it isn't fair to her or her 2 sons that the Army is leaving her in the dark.
I feel like the Army failed not only him, but failed his family.
After months of pushing for answers, the commanding general agreed to an interview Wednesday.
What do you tell these families that, are affected by suicide, that are really desperate for the answers?
I can't imagine how difficult it is to go through what they have gone through. But what I tell them is we will do everything we can to understand exactly why the unique set of circumstances led to a soldier deciding to end his or her life.
So what's leading to the deaths? Our investigation found the soldiers have many connections. 3 soldiers were in the 1st Armored Brigade Combat Team, 3 were in the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team, and 2 were in the 1st Combat Aviation Brigade. The soldiers also had similar deployments. 4 of the soldiers saw combat in South Korea, 2 soldiers deployed to Afghanistan, and 2 to Iraq, all at separate times.
What is that common denominator surrounding your community members that are attempting suicide?
The one thing that's a thread of continuity is that the stress was so overwhelming that that particular person no longer valued their future and decided to end their opportunity to be there for the future.
Fort Riley does have resources on base for those who are experiencing mental health challenges. But why aren't those resources being used?
There is traditionally a stigma attached with behavioral health.
It doesn't make sense, and something is not going right, and with all the support that the soldiers should be having and should be given, it doesn't make sense why there's this rising number of suicide that's happening.
Martin says he's reacting and has created a master plan for curbing the mental health challenges his troops face. The plan includes developing leadership skills for officers, providing soldiers training schedules at least 6 weeks in advance, and requiring leaders to visit their soldiers at home, not as an inspection, but just to see how they're doing.
We need them all. And so if they need help, they need to ask for help, because asking for help is a sign of strength and courage.
And Michael Fellman says even with that stigma of getting help, it is the key to saving your life.
But I look back now and I tell people that was the best and worst day of my life. And it was the worst day because I almost killed myself, and it was the best day because I have a new beginning in life.
The silence of soldier suicide and mental health has now been broken for a conversation. We've also reached out to U.S. lawmakers from Kansas to see if there are more ways to help, and our efforts don't stop here. Reporting live in Fort Riley, Molly Pat, KSNT News.
Thank you, Molly. And you can find the profiles of all of the soldiers who have died at KSNT.com.
And there you'll also find the full interview with Major General Martin.